Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Steinberg, and this is Thrive Thursday podcast. And today we're going to talk about tragedy. I know we had a terrible tragedy a couple weeks ago with Kobe Bryant, but I'm not going to talk about Kobe Bryant. I'm going to talk about how tragedy can be beneficial, can be positive, can actually help you to find your purpose. It's called Transcend-ability. And I want to start this talk, and it really affected me about 10 years ago. I met David Metter. He's the national blind golf champion. We became friends, and I would invite him to my class. And at my class, David would tell people, of course, how a blind man plays golf, which is really interesting in itself. You have a coach, you line him up, and then David would actually hit the ball down the middle because I played golf with him. He's really good. I bet him, lost money, but he's a great player. He can break 100 every time. But also, what's more important is David Metter would tell my class that blindness allowed him to truly see what was important in his life, like friends and family. He transcended after his accident. At 18, he got in a car accident, and from that accident, he was blinded, but he became a better person. He transcended. He had transcend-ability. He also tells my class he's the only man in America who could walk through Home Depot and never see anything he wants, but that's his joke, not mine. But what David Metter allowed me to see was that from tragedy, we could transcend. We could become a better person. I know a lot of you are familiar with Kubler-Ross and her stages of loss. She interviewed these people who were dying, and they went through these stages: anger, denial, depression, bargaining, acceptance. Well, she missed the last stage, which is transcendence. People have had a terrible loss, a terrible tragedy, whatever it might be. They just didn't accept. They just didn't bounce back. David Metter just didn't bounce back. He was not just resilient, he was super resilient. He transcended. So what I did, I was so interested in this topic, I interviewed all these people from around the world. A woman who lost a husband in a terrorist attack, a person who had a serious injury. But what I discovered is they all went through these same stages when they found transcendence. There was the first stage, a wake-up call. The second stage, they flipped the switch and they realized this tragedy had significance in their life. The third stage is they found their strengths that they never knew existed. The fourth stage is they found their purpose. And then the fifth stage is they went from a me to a we. They basically made purpose a verb. They put purpose in action. So let me tell you a story that exemplifies these stages. Petra Nenkova. Remember, you probably heard this story. She was a supermodel, and she was vacationing in Thailand with her boyfriend, and a tsunami came and took her boyfriend out to sea, and he lost his life. And the wave was so powerful that it actually pushed Petra so high she could grab onto the palm fronds of a palm tree. And while she's hanging there, she could see people being washed out to shore, children. Terrible. Can you imagine that sight? And when the water receded and she was in the hospital because the wave actually broke her hips, and she was there recovering, she had a wake-up call. She said, I have to do something for these children. She flipped the switch and she said, I'm gonna start a charity. But Petra Nenkova never started a charity before. She didn't know how to do that, but she discovered all these strengths. She was a great fundraiser, a great leader, a great motivator. And she started this charity, Happy Hearts Funds, and that was her purpose. But she put that purpose into action. She made purpose a verb, and she opened 100 schools throughout the country. Happy Hearts Fund has opened up 100 schools throughout many countries. And Petra tells a story that one day at a school opening, one of the girls comes up to her and she says, Petra, you are our guardian angel. And she said that was one of the sweetest moments she's ever had. The story is not about Petra. It's not about tragedy. It's really that everybody can find their purpose. Yes, tragedy helps us to find our purpose. I don't know how it works. Maybe it quiets our chaos in our heart and our mind, and it allows us to see our true calling. But tragedy can help find your purpose, but you don't need that tragedy, but you do need to find that purpose in your life, because that is when you're going to find those sweet moments, those fulfilling moments. And one of the best ways to do that, and a lot of people I think don't know what, I always get the question, I don't know what my true purpose is. How do you find it? Well, I think the secret of making purpose a verb is this. It's really a basic two-step process. First, recall a time when you did something meaningful that made you feel really significant, really meaningful, really purposeful. But the question is, why? Why did it make you feel meaningful? Maybe you helped a cousin move and you felt so good about that. Maybe you opened up a school or worked at a school. Whatever it is, the secret here is, why did it make you feel meaningful? And when you find out the why, maybe it was because you had big impact, let's say. Then what you do is you use those words, big impact, every day. So every time you're feeling a little bad about yourself, you're not feeling motivated, you need to get inspired, because this is Thrive Thursday, you need to get inspired. Use those words like, I have big impact, I'm gonna have big impact today. And it helps you to make purpose a verb. So today's podcast is about transcend-ability, which is turning tragedy into transcendence. But it's really about how to make purpose a verb. And I hope this is very helpful, because when you make purpose a verb, you will thrive. And this has been Thrive Thursday podcast, and this is Dr. Greg Steinberg.